Welcome, welcome, welcome to another episode of an Able podcast. Welcome, ladies. Welcome to the space where we come together to grow, heal, and thrive in every area of our lives. My name is Olga Peter. I'm the host, and each and every month we visit each pillar because being well, pillar of wellness. Because being well is not just about the body; it's about the mental, the health, the emotional, the finances, all those things they make up our lives. This podcast is your reminder that you're not alone. We're reminding the viewers that they don't have to feel alone and overwhelmed. So our approach is that in every episode we have specialists, we have real life conversations where the intention is to make our viewer feel enabled and able to, to carry on a daily life. So here we have, like we said, we have the conversations, learn from experts, we share real tools and help to become the most balanced, confident and empowered version of ourselves. So relax, take a deep breath, and let's enable each other one pillar at a time. So welcome, ladies. Today, in this very, very exciting episode, we have three powerful ladies. Dr. Bock McMinn, who is a gynecologist, specializing in obstetrician. I tried to say those words correctly. Obstetrician, gynecologist, but I'll give you an opportunity to introduce yourself. Zux, resident social pillar, wellness. Welcome back. Cindy Wait, I want to get it right. Gonsalves.
Very nice.
Cindy Gonsalves, welcome.
Thank you.
Cindy is the holistic practitioner, and you'll also take us through the work that you do. Let's start with you, Dr. McMinn. Please introduce yourself and tell us about yourself.
My name is Yolania. I am 43 years old now. I'm not ashamed to say that I'm in my 40s.
Nice.
So I'm a gynecologist, obstetrician, and reproductive endocrinologist. So I knew since 12 that I wanted to be a doctor. And I think when I reached internship, I realized that I really wanted to work with women. I think we have so many beautiful women out there with so much potential that don't reach it in their communities. And that's why I wanted to do the endocrinology as well, just to help women get back into their communities. I think, that's what brought me to the aesthetics part as well. I'm currently doing a master's in it. I think I like the fact that I can help women in terms of the gynae part, the endocrine part, and then help them feel good about themselves with the aesthetic part as well. So I'm working at Life Flora Hospital and Busamed Hospital.
Okay. Please, for the benefit of the viewers and myself, what is endocrinology?
Endocrinology.
Yes.
So it looks at the different glands in your body, the pituitary gland, thyroid, your pancreas, adrenal gland, the ovaries, testes in the male. And essentially as a woman, the ovary is the furnace of your body, and that produces estrogen that has receptors in your whole body from your head to your toe. And for a woman, it can affect the other glands as well. So it's quite nice to understand the endocrine system, the hormone system, because any imbalance can directly affect your ovary. I forgot to mention the fat cells in the skin are also endocrine glands.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, that's huge, but welcome, and
Thank
we're
you.
definitely looking forward to learning a lot where we talk about the topic of the day. Zux, for the benefit of those that didn't have the opportunity to meet you, please tell us about yourself and introduce yourself.
Hello, viewers at home. My name is Zugiso Lungu. I am the mother of 6 boys. I am a survivor. I've recently conquered lymphoma cancer, and I'm standing here as a resident pillar of social And my input today is absolutely easy for me because it's my lived experience about this topic of today. So that's basically what I'm here for.
Welcome with us, Zooks. Cindy?
Thanks, Olga. This was a great opportunity. Thank you. Very excited to be here. So my name is Cindy Gonzalez. I am a holistic healthcare practitioner. So we work with the body's priority. So people come with all sorts of things, very much like what Dr. McKinn was talking about. And we look at things holistically, so not only from a physical aspect, but what could be the emotional aspect behind a hormonal imbalance, or is there some type of belief system that's lingering behind there? Is it a spiritual thing? So we look at the whole picture, and we like to work very alongside with whatever a person is going through. So if they have chosen to go to a gynae or something like that, these kind of modalities can supplement very beautifully and work with the body as a whole.
Okay, sure. That's very interesting. Thank you so much. So, the topic for the day is that life begins at 40.
Yay.
We've always heard that life begins at 40, but I think only those that have gone past the age of 40 are privileged to experience what that means. So I think from where our starting point is that definitely life begins at 40, but some of the things we find out, they shock us. And in some cases, we were never prepared for what we find beyond 40. So we then we took the onus upon ourselves that we are actually going to start talking about what happens post-40. And today in particular, we are dealing with the perimenopause. So it's not premenopause, it's perimenopause. Perimenopause, what is it? What are the symptoms? How do we deal with it? And we are also going to talk about anxiety, because anxiety in women, especially post the age of 40, is a real thing. So without wasting any more time, Dr. Bock, please let us know and I think I'm asking you specifically so that we do not misdefine terms such as a perimenopause. Mm-hmm. So briefly, what is perimenopause?
So traditionally, perimenopause was about 5 years before the onset of full menopause. So 45 to 50 is usually where we would see it. However, I'm seeing it much earlier, even in early 30s.
Sure.
So the symptoms would range from an irregular period to a period that has just stopped, or a period that has changed, that's become heavy with clots or pain that's different. Some patients report that they struggle with the hot flushes, or it can just be a heat intolerance, can be memory. That's suddenly, many patients will say they go into the room and forget why they're there.
True.
Yeah. Sleep challenges. Sometimes, that's also there because of life, but you'll notice that it's you're getting less quality sleep and you feel less energized during the day. So a lot of fatigue. Some patients also report feeling anxious, feeling stressed, feeling it more. But that's not necessarily perimenopause on its own. I am postulating, there's no evidence for what I'm saying now. I think that the reason why that perimenopause has shifted earlier is the things that we're exposed to, the food that we eat, the things that we wash our bodies with in our hair, the situations that we're exposed to. I grew up in the 80s and your neighbor was your family. You didn't have McDonald's from Uber, you ate proper food, you slept well. And I think also just community, women need community. And we don't, like a lot of my patients are alone. They working, they're raising their children, they doing well, but they're alone. And, that stress has got to go somewhere, right? So I think just the change in the world that we have could be part of the reason why we're seeing earlier perimenopause, we're seeing more anxiety, more cancers, more infertility. So that's just an observation. The difference with menopause is that menopause, then you have basically your ovaries not producing any more follicles, so you don't have estrogen anymore.
Okay.
So all the receptors in your body that need it, some patients are blessed, they don't have any symptoms. They go through it quite smoothly, the period stops and life goes on. But for the majority of women, it starts from their head. Estrogen is necessary for the dopamine and the serotonin receptors to keep your mood stable. So without the estrogen, there's irritability, there's anger, there's anxiety, your bones,
Sure.
You need it,
when you said, there seems to be a shift, or younger people starting to getting it or much earlier than the expected 45 years old. Also from my side, just from observation, there's a lot of people that tend to, ladies that complain about, all the symptoms. And the very first symptom would be, someone will say, hey, I don't know how many times I need to change my pajamas at night because I break into a sweat. And because they don't know what it is, they think there is just something wrong with them. And I'm glad that without necessarily having to prove it as a fact, just taking it from an observation, it is true. A lot of people, they experience it from a much earlier age. And I'm glad that you also just touched on the possible reasons for this. Zooks, please tell us about your experience when it came, so that we can actually back up what the doctor has just said from experience.
Okay, so on my side, firstly, I was not impressed by the fact that I had to find out about it as I was going through it. Surely, someone should have told me about this. I should have known about it before. So for me, the onset of perimenopause wasn't early. I think it was at the right time, but it's just that the severity of it for me was hectic. I mean, the amount I was sweating, I'm sure I could have hydrated a village somewhere. It was hectic. And also the thing is, the mixture of the symptoms, and now for me, it also happened at the worst possible time, because it happened when I was 48 and I had just closed the chapter with cancer, having gone through chemotherapy. So I was kind of like caught up between, is this post-chemo symptoms? What is this? So I couldn't quite figure out what exactly was going on. But all I knew was I was sweating bucket loads. I didn't have the brain fog, luckily, thank God. I didn't have the mood swings, but I had dizzy spells. I had... the sweating, it would start with buzzing in the ears, and I'll be like, what is going on, So for me, I believe that there's no ways I was going to go through this alone and be quiet about it. I told anyone and everyone who was willing to listen, because I felt that the more you know about it, the more prepared you can be, I just felt that this is something that everyone should know about it. I mean, at some stage, I was like, did our mothers sign a secrecy pact or what? Because I don't remember any of my aunts ever telling me about this. But when you look at it now, if I remember going home in the villages, there was always that aunt that was always in a bad mood. Now I'm like, shame, we judged her. She was probably going through perimenopause. That's why she was always in that bad mood. But for me, I think the most important thing is the more we talk about it, then the more we can understand each other, and the more we understand each other, the more we can be patient with each other, and I mean, coming again now from the social pillar, we live in communities where we need to understand each other, we need to be patient with each other, and understanding is a very most important element. So when you know what this person is going through, then you are able to counter. I mean, there's other areas that are affected. I mean, if you look at a lot of marriages that people go through divorce when they're in their mid-50s to mid-40s to their late 40s. Perimenopause could be one of the causes, because if the husband is not aware what his wife is going through, obviously that's going to affect their marriage. I mean, if you don't know, you're not going to understand why this person is acting like this, why this person is moody, why this person is forgetful,
And the libido goes down.
And the libido goes down.
And actually, we are definitely going to, going to pose that question, because it's very important to table. Cindy, before I come to you, Zooks, I had a conversation yesterday with my mom, and I was just saying to her, look, Mom, why were you guys, why didn't you ever talk to us about perimenopause? Because these are the things that we go through. And she just laughed it off. And that's normal, because, that's the expected reaction. But afterwards, I then thought about it, that maybe herself, she just didn't know what was going on with her, because no one ever told her. I think now we are at a time where we do, to a certain degree, we practice conscious parenting, in the sense that I now know that, hey, we've got daughters. Cindy's got a daughter, teenage, and I also have a teenage daughter, and we are now saying, hey, I don't think I want my child to find out the way that I found out about things. So it actually talks to us, starting about body awareness, being aware that, this is going to happen at a certain time. But Cindy, coming to you, there's a part about, the doctor mentioned a part about anxiety as part of the symptoms of perimenopause. Have you, in the work that you do, have you experienced it? If you have experienced it, how do you navigate around that?
Absolutely, yes. So definitely there can be a physiological driver, like change in hormones, or even hypoglycemia, low blood sugar can definitely bring about symptoms that mirror anxiety. But definitely, I think that people are all programmed slightly differently. So someone innately could just be a little bit more anxious in general in life. So the nervous system needs a little bit more TLC, a little bit more care. Whereas for other people, it could be a situational thing. It could be you got to stand up and say something, and then all of a sudden, you're feeling sweaty palms, your pulse is racing, you're feeling dizzy. So those are more situational anxiety things. So, and generally there is different responses where some people want to fight, some people want to flight, they want to flee, they want to leave the situation. Some people freeze. And in the workplace, we find it now that you are forced to stay in place, because it's inappropriate to get up and leave your place of work, because now you're feeling these physiological experiences that, the pulse racing or the tremors, so it's almost like we are suppressing these physiological symptoms and the emotions and the shame and all the things that go with it. And then we think, oh my goodness, there's something wrong with me. But these experiences are actually very common, and it's a natural expression of something that you're going through.
Okay. Doctor, coming back to you, we spoke about the brain fog. Brain fog, and I speak on behalf of many women, where literally I go to a fridge, I open the fridge, and I've forgotten what it is that brought me to the fridge. But I would like to come from as much as, yes, it's funny, but I think for some people, it brings about anger. Because I do not, and I remember, when I started going through the brain fog, yes, I go through it, I made a decision to play Sudoku. Every evening, I play a puzzle because that's what, without me knowing, that's what has been suggested. But I'd like us to get into the whatever that it is, or from the brain fog, what that causes people to be angry. Because I've had a lot of people also saying that, or women actually, not people, women, saying that they become very edgy, and because of this misunderstood phenomena happening, they actually go to a doctor, and a doctor says happy pills. And then they have to rely on happy pills for the rest of their lives on something that is misunderstood. So I don't really want to, the question is not based on questioning whatever decision that happens at psychological level, but this misunderstood anger, being edgy, and how then it affects, because we're talking about a home front here. It affects the home front. What can you say about that? Have you experienced it? And yeah.
So 100%, I do see a lot of patients who will tell me that they're very angry, but they also have the brain fog, and they just feel like they're losing themselves, that they're going crazy, and they don't know, is it just them going crazy, or is there an explanation for it? Most of the time there is an explanation. It's the decreased estrogen, and with that comes abnormal cholesterol. Your brain is 90 to 100% cholesterol, so are your hormones. Okay. So also the foods that you're eating can have an effect on it. So sometimes a change in the diet, eating clean, getting rest, getting sunshine, can make the brain fog better. Okay. Taking the estrogen if you need it, and if you're not high risk, will definitely help with it. I think they use the happy pills because it's a different pathway to get the mood balanced, but I 100% agree that we shouldn't start there. So the anger is because of the imbalance of the hormones, of the estrogen. Sometimes with some women, they've got the insulin resistance, and that can alter the androgens, the male hormones, and you'll find that they're a bit higher, and that also can add to the anger. So a lot of these women should go and have a basic workup just to see if it is a hormone thing, if it is a diet thing, because there are some supplements that do actually help.
Okay.
Yeah, the B12 group is very good with that as well. There's some holistic things as well, but I don't have much evidence for it. The ashwagandha, the L-theanine, the GABA, there's a lot that's out there, but I think you have to use what's right for you.
Yes.
Yeah, and not just take a whole concoction. I don't know if you guys seen on social media, the patient will be on CMOS and lion's mane and the whole combination for all these symptoms, and then they're frustrated because it's not getting better. Yeah.
Cindy, I see you nodding.
Yes, I very much agree with that. I actually love what the doctor is saying. Also, with some of the work that I'm doing, and I'm studying kinesiology on the side, we can actually even muscle test to see which would be right for the patient, or we don't call them patients, but for the client, if it's ashwagandha, if it's whatever. Yeah. And I quite like, I had a client once who has gone through menopause, and she was very angry, and I can't remember the exact details if she was on HRT medication, but she had a great release of anger through kinesiology. So it's actually lovely to see how these things can work together, because I definitely think the medication does help with the hormone balancing, but there is another aspect where we still need to work on the emotions. So yes, it can help, but the more we suppress the emotions, they get trapped in the body. So there is, like whether it's anxiety or whether it's anger or whatever it is, it still needs to be released from the body, and we still need to do the work on ourselves from an emotional, social, spiritual perspective.
Zooks, before I come to you, Cindy, what is kinesiology?
Kinesiology uses muscle testing to bring balance to the body.
Okay. And I think because it's such an unknown, I didn't know about it, so definitely you give me something to read up on. And for the viewer listening at home, thinking, how does it work? Just give me a brief overview, not too deep.
Okay.
Brief overview.
So basically, now I have to think summarized version.
Or even if it's an example,
okay,
that's fine.
So basically, you would come with an issue, and we would reformulate it into a goal. So I am calm, I am at peace, my body is regulated, whatever you want it to be. We would muscle test that on you. You physically use a muscle.
Okay.
And then it would, we call it locking and unlocking. It would show as an unlock because that's not your current reality. And then we would muscle test which technique would help you to shift into that experience.
Okay.
Of being calm.
That's very interesting.
Yes.
We'll definitely ask more about it at the end. I think at the point, for those that are interested, for those that would like to find out then your handle and everything, that's where they're going to find out.
Okay.
Zooks, you had a different reset. Was reset part of this? Please tell us about this.
So basically what happened with me was I was in the path of post-chemo and entry of perimenopause. And being the person that I am, I do not leave things unanswered. So it's natural for a person to say, I've went through chemotherapy, so it's normal that I can't do this. I refuse to do that. No. I wanted to go into my 50s feeling like I'm in my 30s. So I had to investigate, why am I feeling this? Why is this happening? And I'm actually very grateful that I've listened to Dr. Bok-McMinn talking about part of the symptoms is also to have high cholesterol, because that's one of the things that happened with me. I had very high cholesterol, even on chronic medication for cholesterol. And I was like, I don't understand why, because during chemo, I went clean eating. I totally changed my diet. I lost about 15 kilograms. I used to be quite a chunky lady.
Wow.
I lost weight. So what happened is... my oncologist, when I first saw him, he said to me, part of the things that are going to change in your body while you're going through chemo is you're going to lose weight, you're going to lose your hair, and you're going to go dark. Immediately when he said that, I saw a Nubian model. I'm like, hello, I've always wanted to be a Nubian model. So I'm going to lose weight, I'm going to be bald, and I'm going to be slim, callow. So, but it didn't quite work out like that. Essentially, I had to put in the work. But I was grateful that I researched a lot. It was quite a learning journey for me. I learned a lot. And I learned a lot also about holistic, living holistically, because, with cancer, it can be very overwhelming. And you need to be very careful about your energies, and you need to be very careful about, what you put in your mind. And for me, I was like, I'm keeping positive. I'm keeping a positive mindset as I'm learning. And so basically what happened with me was I had to put things in their own baskets. I had to understand what was post-chemo symptoms and what was this perimenopause. In fact, I didn't even know about perimenopause until I went to see my oncologist. I said, listen, this chemotherapy of yours, it's giving me funny things. It's like, listen, my lady, don't take your issues and make them. And I'm like, what issues? He says, are you not going to be 50 soon? Suddenly it dawned on me that I'm 48, so I'm heading for the 50s. I said, yeah, I am. He says, yeah, he says, have you heard of something called perimenopause? I said, yeah, I've heard of it. I know menopause, but isn't that happening there by the 50s, on the other side of the 50s? He said, well, perimenopause happens much earlier. So then I started reading up about it, and the more I spoke about it, the more I heard all these horrendous stories that women are going through. I was like, do women go through a secrecy pact that they must never ever talk about this? Because I was just so shocked at how many women are going through this, yet they're not talking about it. So essentially, that was my journey. And during the investigation, we and also another thing is I'm the kind of a person that loves reading about my own personal history. So my own mother passed away at a very young age. She passed away at the age of 58. Sure. My mother had an autoimmune condition called Sjogren's disease. Okay. So for me, one day I'm sitting at my child's school. So as I said, I'm a mother of 6. And I'm very active in their lives. I'm sitting at school and suddenly I can't get up. Nothing is sore. I just can't get up. And for me, it was the weirdest feeling because nothing is painful. I just can't get up. So for me, I was like, okay, we need to investigate this. And after investigating, we learned that it was the onset of an autoimmune condition, which could have been triggered by the gene because of what my mother had, but also the chemo could have triggered it. And then also, obviously, the perimenopause also in the mix. So then I was hospitalized to run further investigation because I had to see a rheumatologist. I'm seeing so many doctors in my late 40s, I'm telling you. I'm seeing so many doctors. I mean, oncologists, rheumatologists, gynecologists. I mean, like, what doctor am I not seeing? So then the rheumatologist suggested that I also see a neurologist because she figured that it will be best if it gets investigated on both ends, her end as a rheumatologist and on the neurologist end. And by that research, they learned that I was on the onset of a autoimmune condition, and which basically, in short, it meant that my brain will send a message to the muscle to say, hey, muscles, we're getting up, but there was no Wi-Fi to deliver the message. So the muscles would be like chilling and relaxing, and I'm like, guys, we're getting up, and the muscles are like, who, when, what? So so I had a reset. I had a procedure done, which is called it's called plasma replacement. So basically, what happened is the chemotherapy had messed up my my nervous system. So it had impurities, and so it was not functioning at its maximally. So I had a reset, and it was quite a intriguing procedure. I mean, I didn't know of the existence of such, but I'm grateful that I had a reset because it took away 15 years of my life. So I am
we will never get to the end of this one.
I am walking into my 50s feeling like I'm in my 30s. So that's what I wanted. I mean, really. So literally, it reversed all of those niggly symptoms. Now I can get up, I can go hiking, I can climb on rocks, I can sit on anything and be able to lift myself up. And most importantly, I feel amazing. I don't have to shuffle out of bed. I can literally get out of bed like a normal person. So I've been speaking to a lot of ladies that are into their late 40s, and they all talk about the same thing, that, oh yeah, tired muscles. So it seems like no one quite knows how to quantify what it is that's happening, but they know that they can no longer get out of bed as they used to in their 30s. They kind of like shuffle out of bed. So no shuffling for me, excuse me. Thank you very please.
Wow,
so yeah.
I'd like us to go a step deeper. Just one notch, from a point that we've now there's a bit of an understanding in terms of what happens to us and to our bodies. Thank you for that. But as a woman, I am a mother, I am a wife, and or I am a partner, whatever the situation is. It's all so good, or rather, it's not enough. Yes, that's a word. It's not enough that I know what's going on with me, but they don't know how to handle me when I go through what I go through. And I'm going to start with you, Cindy, because I think the work that you do is from an emotional perspective. Before we go to the doctor, we sometimes we find ourselves in homes where we are misunderstood. And it's all fair. They can't understand me if I don't understand myself. However, now we are not going from the beginning. We're starting from a point where, okay, now I've got a little bit of an understanding. How do I take this and now work it into my family? And I think the question is more from that emotional and mental work that needs to happen, so that they don't, and I think in most cases, Zuki, you will attest that you'll find that sometimes our kids will just say, she's just being too much right now. I don't understand what's going on with her because I'm shouting, or I'm like, hey, guys, can I just lock myself in my room? I just want to be alone. And sometimes with our kids, it comes across as if we're saying we don't want them. But that's not the case. Kids is not the case. So Cindy, with the work that you do and the understanding, how do we help us navigate through this?
So, I mean, more from a personal perspective, I find that sometimes just talking, especially with my daughter, and saying, you know what, I'm finding that my hormones are a little bit all over the place. I'll even tell her I'm on my period. Or I'll say I'm PMSing now, like you actually don't want to be near me.
Boys?
I can't answer that, sorry. But, and she's not as open, but she definitely sees now. She's like, oh, you're getting your period, aren't you? But so I think as long as we are open, but I mean, your boys will one day have wives.
True.
So, I mean, it's no harm in them knowing, okay, this is what she's going through, and what is it that you need? Do you need me to remove myself? Do you need some sugar? Do you need a hug? I think from the work that I do, though, we had this great teacher who always said it only takes one person to shift a situation, and it may as well be you. So if you are doing the work on yourself, so if you are taking the supplements you need and you're taking the therapies that you need to do, and you are eating healthily and you're going for balances or whatever it is, prayer, whatever it is that centers you, we are slightly less likely to be triggered. Okay. So that is my opinion though. So you can go through these storms. We're still the pilot at the end of the day. So whether you go through the middle of it, shaking the turbulence, or if you're going it at a lower altitude, there's that option.
So in essence, if I hear you correctly, if you're doing the inner work already, and there's a little bit of that awareness that comes with that work, you are better, in a way, I am better equipped to also put them at ease in terms of what they can expect. Am I understanding correctly?
Yes. So one part is the communication,
yes,
and then the other part is me, myself.
Yes.
So if I'm doing what I need to do, I'm going to go through the hot flashes or the changes in my body with acceptance and and not be as erratic. I'm not going to say that those things don't happen, but I just feel like it could be at a lower frequency. So overall, it's less dramatic for everyone.
I absolutely love the term you've used, acceptance. And I'm coming to you, Dr. Bok McMinn, the acceptance. Because Dr. McMinn, you spoke earlier on about the drop in the libido.
Yes.
And I'd like to bring in that the term acceptance in that, because now I am here, and this, please feel free to speak, because this is it's an adult podcast, so and these are in whatever level we need to get to in addressing things, we can. So here I am not as interested. I'm not interested because I didn't know, but now I know a little bit. And in knowing a little bit about the libido, how do I now help us, rather, to navigate to a point where my husband doesn't know. He knows about menopause. He doesn't know about perimenopause and what happens. So, and I think we're coming from a society where, as women, we just need to do what we need to. They say what is okay, keep the stove warm.
Yeah.
Keep the home warm, and let's unpack this, and please help us navigate now. Sure. How do we move around this?
So the libido, I'll put it into 3 components. the actual vagina, the actual lining of the vagina. So usually it's got little ridges within it. The tissue's healthy. There's a good mucus that's produced. So when it's time for intimacy, it's not painful. It doesn't feel like there's tearing. And then the sensitive spots where orgasms can arise from: clitoris, the inner lips. There's a spot just underneath where the pipe for the urine comes out, the urethra. And for some women, their cervix is a spot. So those spots can dampen down because of stress, because of the estrogen that's dropping. I didn't add one more thing earlier on. There's 3 times in a woman's life where they get that perimenopause feeling. So when you're pregnant, you have no estrogen, because progesterone is the most important hormone keeping you from going into labor. When you're in menopause. And then women who have got the previous PCOS, PMOS now, they don't produce the correct estrogen. So there's different times in a woman's life where they could experience the low libido. So it's not just perimenopause that has the problem. So it's the anatomy and the physiology that can be affected. Can be a low immune system with stress that then also they keep getting, discharge and UTIs that affect the libido as well because it's painful. And if you're not intimate often, the libido will go down. Just in terms of the stress as well, as women, when we stress, we produce bad estrogens from our liver. That can be the bad estrogen taking over in our bodies, giving us perimenopausal symptoms earlier.
Okay.
And it's actually not, it's the stress. So there's that part that can bring the libido down. And for some women, because of the bad estrogens or the lack of the good estrogen, or because of stress, the way that they interpret the feelings, the desire, and the confidence to want to be intimate drops. So we can fix it. We give testosterone. It's made to be similar to what the body makes, and it's a cream that's rubbed on, and it's put on. So you use it at little stages. It's a ml, and you start off with like 0.5, and you rub it on until by the end of the week you've, completed the full ml. But it's good to first check your testosterone levels. I had a client who started using it, and then she said, "Oh my gosh, doc, I'm horny 3 times a day." He doesn't know what is going on, and finally he's enjoying it, but he wants to know, is this just chemical or is it? And I said to her, the thing is, we've fixed your hormones, we've looked at your deficits, we've changed your diet, we've improved your sleep, and we've sorted out your stress. She's left her job, she's doing her own thing, and that was a big part of her getting better. But the crux is that I said to her, this is her normal libido, but we brought the cream down to half. So yeah.
Oh wow, that is so there is hope, ladies, there's hope. And what and just to reiterate again, first it is to test the hormone level. And then if it happens that it's low, there is a solution, which is what the doctor has just mentioned now, the cream, and that's actually exciting. But I think up until we get to the point, because I think a lot of ladies don't necessarily want to run to the solution before they accept,
Of course,
that this is where I'm at. Please, and I think any of you ladies can jump in there. The management of that, the period before we get to the acceptance, and I'm specific talking about, within the setup of marriage, because, and I know for a fact that as ladies we go, I'll go to my friend here, Cindy, hey, I've got this problem. How do I solve it? And we come up with a solution aside. And in most cases, the husbands are left out of the equation because we say, he talks too much. He doesn't understand. But I think we so we're getting to a space where we all need to be aware of what's happening. Because from 40 up, I mean, we stuck together. So how do we let's try and create that shift where the acceptance is not there yet. And I also need to bring along my husband. How do we do that?
Okay, I'll go first. So for me, I mean, if you look at what Dr. Bock McMean has described in terms of what changes one experiences like on the physiological aspect, you get bloated, you are moody. Hey, I no longer judge ladies at the mall that I see them with unlotioned arms because I know exactly how it happens. First of all, you are overheating. The minute you jump out of that shower, you need to sit down and cool down for at least 10 minutes. Now, add brain fog. You're going to remember that you didn't lotion your arms. So, yes, this sounds like it's a funny thing, but if you really think about it in that way, now what happens now to this lady? She finds herself in the shopping mall and she looks at her arms and she realizes, oh my God, I forgot to lotion myself. She feels uncapped, number one. Number two, her self-esteem starts dropping. So for me, the self-awareness then becomes very important because that then takes you to communication. So I believe what we are doing here is already a step towards the right direction, because now we're starting to talk and educate other ladies about this even prior to them going through these experiences. Because now if you are aware, you know that, oh, I'm going to forget to lotion. So that means I must go into the shower 10 minutes earlier so that I've got a head start of 10 minutes before I leave. Because now if you're going to be rushed, you're going to leave home unlotioned and it doesn't look good. But I'm no longer judging. Almost happened to me too. But now I've been reset, so I'm no longer worried about
this. This is not about your reset. But I think, Dr. Bock, do men have their own menopause? I've heard of it. There's a term that I've heard.
Yes.
And I'm asking this question. I'm going to let you answer. Because if maybe for once in our life we have an understanding that whatever happens to a woman, it also happens to a man. And this is how it affects, without necessarily making it about men. Please tell us about it. Do they have their own perimenopause?
So I don't know, for them it's more of a midlife crisis.
Oh, okay.
When I call it that.
Yes.
I think also with our lifestyles that we have now, men are also exposed to estrogens that they shouldn't have. So they also go through depression. They also go through confidence issues with their bodies, because some of them that don't have a healthy lifestyle, they get the tummies and the breasts, and sometimes they're unable to have an erection. So sometimes the libido can be on both sides. And I think if they don't have meaningful conversations with each other about it, they're never going to resolve the libido aspect. Men, yes, they can have depression. Sometimes, men, and I'm not saying all men, but some men like that chemical feeling that they have, whether it's with sports or things that they enjoy, food, women. So women are in it for, how shall I say, they're willing to do the work. I'm not saying all men are not. Sure. But I think it's easier for a man to just walk away and find a new situation to fulfill him. So with men, it's very difficult to know or to pinpoint it out that, okay, you are going through this now. Because for them, it's easy to distract themselves and sort of put their mind onto something else. Whereas with a woman will be consumed with all these changes and either wanting to make it right or sort of just make peace with it or get away from it. Yeah.
Sure.
So I think, yes, men do go through it. Difficult for women to understand because we think differently to them.
Yes.
But I think also just to be sensitive, if you have a partner or a husband or your dad or your brother, that if you notice a change in their behavior, to remember it. Yeah.
Sure. That one I'm going to echo to our viewers that it is important, especially ladies, because I think we, sometimes in our home setups, you find that because it's a commonly known thing with ladies that this is what we go through. And I think there sometimes become a bashing between the two of us, husband and wife, that no. It's always been a commonly communicated thing about ladies that no, this and that will happen. And as rightfully as you said, Doc, that men don't necessarily want to go through it, they run away. But I think what is important is that, especially to the lady viewer, know that they are also going through, and pretty much the same time. Am I correct? Is it pretty much the same time or them?
A little later.
A little later.
I think sometimes they don't actually realize they're going through it, to be honest. I think they also don't communicate. And I see that with a lot of couples, especially when they've just had their baby or they want to fall pregnant, or they in the menopausal age and they, are coming together, the husband supporting his wife. So a lot of the time they'll tell me men, they don't talk about it.
Yes.
And they didn't realize they had financial stress or they were worrying about work or,
I think my key takeout out of all of this, Cindy, I'm going to come to you on the anxiety part of it just now. But the key takeout out of this is that we see that statistically, and just generally through people, divorces go much higher post 40. And I think somehow we fool ourselves into believing that, no, I finally got to wake up now post 40. But I do think based on, after this episode, I'm coming to understand that it is because of misunderstanding the stages that we go through. That's number one. Number two, and maybe not bold enough to get into communication. But number three, the acceptance. The acceptance. Now, Cindy, I'd like us to quickly look at, the anxiety part. I know we touched on it just briefly. And I'd like us to go a little bit deeper because we see the head of the anxiety rearing its head time and again. And in most cases where it's a woman-led home, okay, even still in married couples as well, we see it because and now I don't think more so with perimenopause, but as a concept on its own that I feel nervous. I don't know. Am I? Zook spoke about it that sometimes I feel unkept. My self-confidence is low. Am I still good enough? Am I still? Please take us through that. I think not so much from a diagnostic, but how do we, even if it's baby steps, how do we start doing the work to get over it? Because I've had, Dr. Bock, I had a friend actually who was on medication, the happy pills. And the other day she came to me and said, friend, I'm tired. I'm tired of this, of the medication. And I think she had asked the doctor to lower the prescription, or she stopped. She didn't go to renew the script. And when I saw her, she was looking like a lunatic. Sorry, I don't have a better word of putting it. She looked like she was out of a psycho house, or she didn't look right. And I actually asked her, friend, what's going on with you? And then I remembered that she stopped taking the medication. Now, you see, I don't want to come across like a irresponsible person and say to a friend, stop the medication, if there's nothing that I can suggest to her. How do you deal with that?
I think each person's journey is unique and individual. But before we get there, life has a lot of demands, especially as women. And I almost find that after 40, you've built up this life, you've built up a career, a home, and there's more at stake. I just find personally now, as compared to my 20s when I was more free-loving and I didn't really care, there's more to lose now. I've built up things that I want to hold on to, and maybe that's just me. But there are demands. There are bills to pay, there are children to raise, we've more mouths we need to feed, jobs we need to maintain, friendships, relationships, all these things that are going on. Plus, I don't think we should be fooled also. I mean, we have financial strains in this country. There's all these things, and no one gave us a manual on how to manage these things. So the fact that anxiety will crop up, or that you have these worries about things that may or may not present themselves, are very valid. And I don't think that we should be squashing it and think, oh, there's something wrong with me because I'm worried about a whole plethora of things. So two things. I think that medication has its place.
Sure.
I know people who their lives have been changed by it. I personally had an experience in my 20s where I say I was free-loving, but I did have a bout with depression, and I did take medication. And maybe it was a long time ago and the medication wasn't advanced as it is today. I had so many side effects that they put me on a different SSRI or something to counter the side effects from the first one. And I was like a walking zombie. I didn't know where I was. So for me, I know that my body's a little bit more sensitive as well. So it wasn't the best approach for me. But I have friends who are thriving on it. So I think that, the body, in order to release emotions, they either come out through tears.
Sure.
It's crude, but or pooping. So we digest our emotions and our life experiences in our gut, and it needs to come out. Otherwise, it gets stuck in the tissue, and that's when we get sick and we get chronic illnesses. So,
was it you that defined anxiety? I think it was you. I don't think it was you, Dr. Paul. What is the definition of what actually is anxiety? Because maybe some of us don't even know what anxiety is.
Yeah, so generally it's a fear of something happening. I mean, that's how I interpret it.
Yeah.
So, yes, it has different sensations really. So it can just be like this worrying, or it can be like kids especially, their tummies, they have like a worry tummy, where they sore stomach, under very like intense nervousness. There's a tremor that can happen, a shortness of breath. You feel dizzy. You feel like you want to leave the situation that you're in. Yes, and it can just be constantly thinking about a situation over and over and trying to consciously think about how you're going to get out of it. So from a non-medicated approach, there are different things that you can do. So I think we can never underestimate the power of the breath. So breathing and deep belly breathing, so expanding. So when you inhale, you expand the belly, and then when you exhale, it collapses. And then very specific sequence of breathing. So you inhale for 4 breaths.
Yes.
Sorry, you inhale for 4 seconds. You hold for a second, and then you release to exhale for 8 seconds. And you hold for another second. So you need to do that 5 or 6 times, and that shows immediate response. Like you immediately.
Okay, wait. Let's go over this.
Yes.
Because it's an immediate relief, and that's what we're looking for. So you breathe in for 4 seconds.
You hold
For how long?
like a second.
A second.
You exhale for 8 seconds.
Okay.
And then you hold for another second. So you need to do the cycle 5 or 6 times. But the key is that the exhale is double the length of the inhale. That resets the nervous system. So what happens when we're feeling anxious? We're in our heads and we're worrying about things. Something that happened in the past, you're worrying about something that may or may not happen in the future. So the body is always in the present. So if you think, okay, can I feel my feet in my shoes? You wiggle your toes, and even touching yourself, like giving yourself a squeeze, a little hug, you bring yourself back to right now.
Okay.
So the key is to be in the present moment, and it's very airy-fairy, and everyone talks about it, but it's actually not that easy to achieve. So there's another technique that I can also offer.
Okay.
It's called 5-4-3-2-1. So you look for 5 things that you can see. So in this instance would be the beige chair, the purple flowers, the yellow mustardy. So you want to be specific though, so you can get out of your head.
So the whole idea is to get myself out of my head.
Exactly. So 5 things you can see, and you name them, the whiteboard. Then 4 things that you can feel. So can I feel my toes in my shoes?
Yeah.
Can I feel my bum on the chair? Can I feel the chair under my bum? It's an inverse thing. Can I feel my fingers? Maybe there's a breeze. Can I feel my breath in and out my nose? So that's the 4. Then 3 things you can hear. So there's a little something there. I can hear your and I hear my breath. If you still for long enough, you will hear 3 things. 2 things you can smell.
Okay.
So
So it's getting back to the senses. in a way.
Yes. So basically, you're working on the senses.
Sure.
The last one is something you can taste. So that also quite quickly recenters you.
That's huge.
Yeah, and they're quick things. They're
Okay.
very easy to do.
I wish we had more time for this. I really had more time. I really, really wish we had more time. But in conclusion, ladies, Dr. Bock, I'm going to start with you. Here's your viewer. Here's your viewer. What would you... So she is going through anxiety. She's going through perimenopause. What would you like to say to her so that literally next time she goes through the symptom, she is better empowered and enabled?
Thank you again for this opportunity. It was really lovely being here with you ladies today.
Thank you.
I think for the viewer, I'd like to say that firstly, it's not your fault. And this is something that you can definitely work through and get to wellness. And it's just to go and, see a gynecologist, just to see, from a hormone point of view, if it is that, but then also to exclude if it's insulin resistance or if it is anxiety, so that we get you back on track.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know what I've learned today, Dr. Bock-McMinn, through engaging with you, is that I think previously we've always gone to gynaes when there's a problem, and the problem can only be solved by a gynae. Today, you've actually taught us that you build a relationship with a gynae, because you mentioned something about your client where you looked at the diet, you eliminated this, you eliminated that, so that these things, when they start happening, she's better equipped. So thank you for that. And then one last question before we move on. So before 40, we would normally go to the gynae once a year, or we don't go at all. What would be your recommended amount of visits for a person post 40?
Post 40. I would say go once a year. I know that the national guideline, for instance, for a pap smear is once every 5 years, but the pap smear also gives us a lot of information, the pH in the vagina, so if those symptoms are starting. Also, because the 40s, we can, like you said, you picked up that there was a autoimmune condition. We keep on track every year, just to keep you in wellness. It's not necessarily that you're going there because of disease. You're also going there because your body's changing. And it's going to continue to change. And it's sort of to support you through it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. My Zooks, here's your opportunity.
Mine is easy. Just don't take anything for granted. Investigate, learn. And once you've learned, you are enabled to manage and to have acceptance. I mean, hey, it's not necessary that when you are in your 40s you have to shuffle like you're 99. It's not necessary. Just, I know that at times people are too scared to go to the doctors. They're too scared to investigate. They just take things for granted and say, I'm over 40. This is normal. Nothing is normal. Just investigate, make sure that you are comfortable, because then once you are better knowledgeable, you are able then to manage whatever it is that you are facing. And once you learn how to manage it, you are able to live a better life. Because with my autoimmune condition, now I know I needed to integrate a form of exercise, but a low impact form of exercise. So I'm a Tai Chi girl. So if anyone wants to join me, Hey.
You know, there's Zooks, you're talking about, you know, the check, investigate, and Dr. Bok, just a little bit, the role of ChatGPT. Hey, we live our lives on ChatGPT, and in most instances we don't actually even know what prompts to put on ChatGPT, because we don't want to go, hey, I don't have the money, the little bit of money that I have, I don't think I want to go to Bok McMinn for that, so let me ChatGPT. And if ChatGPT says, okay, these are the possibilities, and then I'm like, okay, sweet, I'm fine.
So the danger with ChatGPT, I actually had a patient who I delivered, she had a cesarean section for preeclampsia, and then presented at the casualty. I won't say which one, but essentially the doctor used ChatGPT, didn't examine her, said so she's having a stroke. You know, it's horrible. But you know, the patient was okay. She had a weakness on the side. She was seen with a specialist, sorted out. But I mean, if someone that's junior, you know, is doing things like that, what more a person who's not a medical person, because obviously ChatGPT is going to go to the worst case scenario. And the anxiety is not necessary. So I think maybe you could use it just to have an idea of what you're dealing with, but not to use ChatGPT as this is it. This is what my issue is. Because it might be leading you down taking supplements and doing things that are actually dangerous.
You know what? It's. I can definitely attest that it's a no-go. I once went to a doctor, and the doctor, again, I had gone because my eye was infected, and I used ChatGPT to check, you know, the possibilities. And by the time I went to the doctor asked me, so where have you been all along? Because your eye is very angry at you. And she actually, you know, narrated a very short story where she said that, you know, the danger in you as patients going to ChatGPT or Google, where a patient actually called her or got into her rooms and said, "Doctor, I think I have vaginal cancer." And so the doctor then checked her. And checking her, she just said, "Look, it's thrush." But you see now, by the time she got to the doctor, she was so scared. So scared because I'm dying, I've got cancer. So, and I think somehow it does link to you, Cindy, because if I now start believing that I've got cancer, what am I doing to my body? What am I saying here to my mind? And what am I saying? The stress and everything. So in a way, I get to a point of manifesting something that is not correct. So ChatGPT, icona, guys, go to the doctor, go to the gynae to get the correct information. Cindy, I know we said we're concluding. Cindy, there they are.
Okay.
What would you like to say to them?
I think that ultimately, in our heart of hearts, in our absolute intuition and gut, we always know what's right for us. So I think that, yes, do the due diligence, go to the doctor. But if there is something else that you need to supplement yourself with, if it's walking in nature, if it's spending time with a pet, prayer, looking for an alternative modality, we have to remember that we are not just the body. You are body, mind, spirit, soul, however you want to put it. There's emotions. I'm glad you brought up belief systems because that also feeds a whole bunch of stuff that we're going through. So yeah, we must just remember that we are these 360 beings and there's nothing just in isolation.
Sure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, there you have it, folks. It's been great. I wish that the conversation can carry on for longer. I'm definitely calling you ladies back. I'm going to, definitely, because I do think that we have the space for more conversations and conversations that hold the hands of our viewers and listeners. But until next time, I have to stop it here. I'm sorry. Until next time, remember that we're here to support you and always stay fresh and know that we love you. Thank you so much.